بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. التدريسي الأستاذ المساعد دكتور عباس لطفي، أدرس مادة علم اللغة المرحلة الرابعة. Today I am going to give you an idea about the main components of this course. This course consists of the main components or branches of linguistics, including phonology, grammar, syntax, morphology, semantics, going up to discourse analysis, pragmatics, psycholinguistics, sociolinguistics, and we have a survey or introduction to first language acquisition and second language acquisition. In fact, today I am going to give you an idea about one of the main important chapter, which is entitled grammar. Okay, this is chapter 7 in George Ewell's The Study of Language. This chapter includes the following points: what is grammar, traditional grammar, part of speech, descriptive and prescriptive approach, and methods of analysis, or methods of descriptive analysis. Let's start with what is meant by grammar. If you would like to examine the word grammar, or to know what is meant by the word grammar, let's consider the following three phrases. The first one, the lucky boys. The second one, boys the lucky. The third one, lucky boys there. We find that the first one is acceptable in English, while the second and the third one is not. According to the English rules, the grammar of grammar, we find that English allows only article plus adjective plus noun, and reject noun, article, adjective, or adjective, noun, article. Therefore, we can define grammar as the set of rules by which we can construct structure, phrases or sentences. As talking about grammar, we have to know the origin of grammar. Let's take a view of traditional grammar. Traditional grammar, as we know that each language has its own origin of analyzing structure into sentences. For English grammar, we know that English grammar, as stated by most linguists, traditional grammar is based on Latin and Greek. As we know that English somehow is a new language, and at that time Latin and Greek were the center of civilization and scholarship and the language of religion and medicine. English grammar was based at that time at models taken from Latin and Greek, but what is applicable to Latin and Greek might not be applicable to English grammar, because although there are a lot of similarities between the two languages, there are a lot of differences. One of the main concepts of traditional grammar is part of speech. Let's come to part of speech, or what is called word classes. Part of speech, the term part of speech came from traditional grammar, in fact from Latin and the Greek grammar. These parts of speech include 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 classes, beginning with nouns. Nouns are defined as words referring to person like boy, object like whole, creature like cat, place like school, abstract noun like happiness and love, and sometimes to phenomenon like earthquake or volcano, or etc. The second class is article. We know that in English we have two types of articles, indefinite article and definite article, a and an indefinite, and the is definite article. It is clear, obviously, found in grammar that a and an is used for the first mention of something and the for the second mention, and we have a lot of examples. Now we come to the third class, which is adjectives. Adjectives, they are words that give attributes or information about the noun they are attached to. For example, if we come to nice journey, it is a journey, but this journey is modified by the word nice, or the example, sad girl, we give more information about this girl, we give this name the attribute of being sad. The fourth word class is verbs. Verbs are words referring to either action or states. Action, we have certain verbs that indicate action, something like walk, go, and others indicate state like be and become. The first group are called dynamic verbs. The second group are called stative verbs. Now we come to number 6, which is adverbs. The word adverbs is often used to indicate something modifying verbs or modifying adjectives. Mostly they are modifying verbs, something like slowly, quickly, and others like very and rather, they modify adjectives. The seventh one is prepositions. We all know that prepositions are followed by nouns to indicate different types of relation. The first relation is time. When we say at 7 o'clock on Friday, such a use indicates what? Indicate time. The second relation is a place. We use preposition followed by noun to indicate a place, something like in the class, at home, etc. And in certain cases, we can use preposition with a noun to indicate action, like without a knife, or with a knife, and without a thought. The eighth class is pronouns. Pronouns, as we know that, they are entities that can be used in the place of nouns, something like he, she, him, they, them, etc. Some of them are objective, others are subjective. I mean, they use in the position of subject or in the position of object. The last class is conjunction. Conjunction indicating relations between events. Connectors are something like and, but, because, when. Some of them are called compound, others are called complex. In terms, they are classified in terms of the relation they constitute. Now we come to the two main approaches of language. We have an old one, which we call it prescriptive, and a new one, which is taken in 19th century, at the beginning of 19th century, by Bloomfield and others, Bloomfield and Ferdinand de Saussure, and then Chomsky, etc. Now we start with the prescriptive approach. Prescriptive approach, this approach entails that a writer should follow certain rules. This approach focuses on the written rather than on spoken. Therefore, they give people, followers give people rules, and they ask them to follow such rules. Rules which are called prescriptive are something like you must not split an infinitive. In fact, this rule can be applied easily in Latin and Greek, but it is not always appropriate in English. For example, if we take to easily go, this is in Latin an acceptable phrase, but in English we can say to easily go. The second example of such rules, you must not end a sentence with a preposition, but in English we can say chips is what I am fond of. I can end a sentence with of. This of might indicate emphasis or for certain uses. We have a lot of other examples which are taken from Latin and Greek, but they are not always applicable. Now we come to the opposite, or in contrast to the prescriptive approach, we have descriptive approach, which was highlighted and flourished in the 19th century by some linguists like Bloomfield and, as I said, Bloomfield, Ferdinand de Saussure, and other, even Chomsky. The main aim of this approach is to analyze the structure into its constituents. I mean, we analyze a phrase into its structure, or even a word into its structure, and a sentence into its structure. In order to give an examples, we have two methods of descriptive analysis. The first one is called labeled bracketed, sometimes called techniques or way. If we examine the sentence, the boy pushed the cart, we see that the whole construction is a sentence. You see on the left hand, you see this S means sentence. And then we have the first cut between the noun phrase and the verb phrase. The noun phrase, the boy, and the verb phrase, push the cart. And then we can cut the sentence into its constituent until we come to the last components. The second way of representing descriptive analysis is the use of tree diagrams. I give you two examples. The girl laughed at the monkey, or the boat sailed up the river. We find such sentences. Such sentences, or this sentence, let's take the first one, consists of a sentence which can be divided into two parts, noun phrase and verb phrase. This noun phrase consists of determiner and noun, and verb phrase consists of verb and prepositional phrase. This prepositional phrase consists of preposition and noun phrase until we come to the last level, which we call it kernel sentence. This kernel sentence can be substituted by what we call lexical insertion rules in order to have the girl laughed at the monkey. One might ask, why do we use these two ways or these two techniques? The aim is to arrive at the hierarchical order of a structure. What I mean is that we start from the top level, which is a sentence, ending with the lower level, which is determiner, noun, and then substituted by lexical items such as girl, laughed, etc. Anyhow, thank you very much for being patient with me. I hope we will meet again. Thank you very much.